All right, time. My name is Jeff Brooks, and I'm the co-owner of Give Coffee in Canton, Connecticut. Welcome, audience members and judges. I'm excited to share my cup to profile process with you all. The coffee I submitted for this competition was roasted to produce a cup profile with raisin fragrance, raspberry and vanilla aroma, a balanced and crisp acidity, orange, black tea and clove flavors, a juicy body, and a sweet, lingering aftertaste. I developed the profile for this coffee in the same way we develop profiles for all new coffees that arrive at our roastery. Step one was to learn everything I could about the green coffee. First, I looked at altitude. The coffee was grown between 1,800 and 2,000 meters above sea level, which typically means that the bean will have a higher density. I was immediately expecting intense acidity, big sweetness in the cup. Next, I looked at the varietal. The varietal was Bourbon, which historically produces intense citric acidity, and a bean with a higher density, and nice floral notes. So my focus was to develop more body and sweetness to help balance those out. The processing Sholey uses a wash process, which typically means that the coffee will have less body and an intense acidity. This also led me to believe that I would have to balance out the cup by increasing sweetness and body. Finally, I looked at moisture, got 10.5%, which fell between the range I would need to develop balanced acidity and the intense aromas during roasting. My next step was to cup the coffee using our standard sample roast. To do this, I roasted a 50-gram sample on Arikawa. The profile uses a start temp of 300 degrees and has a total time of 434. The end temp was 406 with a development of 44 seconds, or 16%. The final internal temp color was 89 on our roast right. This produced a cup that had intense aromatics and nice grapefruit flavors, but the acidity was a bit tart and the finish was dry. This step confirmed my assessment of the green coffee, so I stayed on my path of developing a profile that would balance out that acidity with sweetness and body while maintaining the flavor note intensity. The final step was to create my profile based on all the information I learned earlier. I roasted 4-pound batches on a 5-kilo USRC. All the adjustments on this machine are done by changing the gas pressure of the burner. Airflow and drum speed were fixed. We have a profile that has given us good success in the past with higher density coffees, so I started with that. The charge temp was 352 degrees. Final temp was 400 degrees. Drying time was 427. Mired time was 321. And development time was 144, or 18%, for a total time of 932. The internal color of this roast was 86 on the roast right. This produced a cup that had elevated aromatics and an intense drying acidity, but there was a smokiness to it that was not pleasant, and the flavor notes were a bit muted, so I did not submit this roast. The next roast, I kept everything the same as that, except for 2 changes. First, I increased my Maillard time by 15 seconds to smooth out the acidic intensity. Second, I decreased my final temp by 3 degrees to elevate the intensity of the orange note and eliminate the smoky notes. This profile produced an internal color of 88 on our roast right and a cup that was very balanced and sweet. The acidity was crisp but not overwhelming, and the body was juicy, all of which carried the orange, clove, and black tea flavors along nicely into a long, sweet aftertaste. This was the roast that I submitted. I was very pleased with the cup of that roast, but I had more coffee to work with, so I did try another profile. I adjusted the development time to 1 minute and 32 seconds, or 16%, and got an internal color of 90 on the roast right. This did elevate the intensity of the clove and black tea notes, but the acidity became dry and the finish was short. The intensity was nice, but my goal here was balance and sweetness, so I did not end up submitting that roast and went with the previous one. Thank you very much. Time.
Let's get it.